Everybody, welcome to my buyers program. Here's a short video for you to give you a bit of an insight into our buyer program and help you out when you're looking to buy your home. So this program is for basically any home buyer. So this is how to go from being clueless about the real estate market to buying your dream home for less than market value in the GTA. Even if you have a low down payment or bad credit, you can do it. Who's this for? Your home buyer is looking to buy your dream home for the best bang for your buck, but you're feeling overwhelmed and intimidated. Listen, there's a lot of content in this, so please do hit the pause button and read. But I'll go through it quickly, and I'll let you pause and read in detail. But we have buyers that have bad credit. We have buyers that have low down payments. But the whole goal here is you want to build your equity and your personal net worth, and you want to get good value, and that's what our goal is to get you good value. You want great neighborhoods, you want safe neighborhoods, and you've been clicking around Facebook and Google, and you've been doom scrolling houses forever. So basically, we're here to help. So a little bit about me. I've been a realtor for over 12 years now, and I do pre-construction. I'm a listing specialist. I do commercial. I do buyers. I do listings, and I do leases as well for people. So I do a little bit of everything. I have a few different licenses or accreditations. I'm a real estate broker. I have resort and second home specialist accreditation. I did do my life insurance license, and I did my mortgage license, but I don't practice for either of those. And I've done a lot of volunteer work over the years. And since kids, that's sort of slowed down a little bit, but certainly that's been a big part of my life. And right now I'm with Remax Millennium. So what you can expect from Remax in 2025. So this is a ton of content here. Please do pause to read it all. This just gives you an idea of what we do at Remax, how we market our brand, and the kind of media impressions that we get as a company. What does that do for you as an individual? Well, basically it says you're working with one of the top names in real estate, and we work really hard to brand ourselves and make sure that when you list your home or purchase a home with us, you're purchasing from a professional company, a well-known name, and that well-known name really brings a lot of credibility to your transaction. So recently, I had a client. Even in the current condo market right now is challenging, to say the least. But even in a market like we have now, I had a client who was looking for an investment property. We looked at a number of different places for him, and we actually found a great option for him. One of the things that I learned really with working with him, and I mean, this is something I've said for many years, you really have to get out and look and feel the spaces and look for floor plans, because especially with a condo, a good floor plan can make or break the property. Poor floor plans are awful, especially in smaller units. Excuse me. We looked at a few. This was one bedroom unit that we were looking for, and we saw some floor plans that were absolutely useless. You couldn't have a couch. You couldn't have certainly you couldn't have a dining table, things like that. So with a one bedroom, if you've got a really nice floor plan, you can have a really livable space, and it's a great starter property for somebody, a young couple who's buying their first home. somebody who is, wants to get into the property market and is starting basically from the ground floor up. So we were able to do that with this purchaser. This was his first investment property, and more to come. So really, look, it's not your fault. There is so much information online these days with real estate, so much coming from the States. It can be really confusing. A lot of bad information, but there's a lot of stuff coming at people. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to really distill the information and really help any buyer to make the right decision. So step one, decide whether you're ready to buy. That's really essential. A lot of people I talk to are starting to scroll, endlessly for looking at houses, like it's an HGTV show. I mean, it's always fun to look at really nice, luxurious houses, and in Hollywood or in all these lovely places. Toronto has some gorgeous luxury homes. But, really what you need to do is you need to decide, if I'm going to buy a house, I need to look at what my income is. I need to look at what my liquid assets are. I need to pay attention to my credit score, because that's essential when you're getting a mortgage. Credit score is a huge factor. But also, along with credit score, your credit utilization. Do you have a lot of loans? Do you have a lot of credit cards? Do you have a lot of outflows? Because it's great to have a great salary, but if you're spending, if your spending is matching your salary, you're not going to get anywhere when it comes to qualifying for a mortgage. So what credit score do you need to qualify for a home, for a loan or a home mortgage? It's a little bit of, there's a little bit of flexibility, but at least you need to be in the 600s. 700s are better. Again, it is one factor when you're applying for a mortgage, but you need to really be cognizant of that. And if you have credit difficulties, that can be repaired, that can be fixed over a fairly short amount of time. Down payment is also essential as well. The more down payment you have, the more power, negotiating power you have with the lender and with the bank. But you can buy with 5%. It can be challenging in some cases depending on what kind of property you're looking for. But down payment is as much as you can get. Really, is what I usually recommend. What's your credit score based on? This is really important. So your payment history. So are you up to date with all your bills? Are you late with any of your bills? The overall amount of money you owe. The length of time you've had a credit history, which again, for young people or for people new to Canada, this can be a challenge because you don't have a lot of time in the credit market, as it were. And the types of credit you use, has it been loans? Has it been credit cards? Purchases, things like that, rent to own, all those kinds of things. And also, are you trying to get new credit all the time? Are you, getting new loans all the time? Are you getting new credit cards all the time? Is there a lot of turnover in your credit? That can affect your score as well. And then this is an essential part of looking for a home. When you apply, get pre-approved for a mortgage, okay? You don't have to, you're not going to get the mortgage right away, but it's really important for you to fill out the application, work with a lender, get all the information to that lender so there's no surprises, and so you can also understand clearly what your budget is and get pre-approved, because we're not going to go and place any offers on any houses until you're pre-approved. It's absolutely useless to do that, because when you do place an offer and when the offer gets accepted, you have to have that financing set up extremely quickly, and it's very difficult to get that done initially to give you some peace of mind when you haven't even started an application yet. So that's one of the things I insist on from my people is we need to get pre-approved before we go out. The online things are nice. They can give you some good information, but really it's important to get pre-approved by the lender. Give them the information, and then they can tell you really with a fairly good amount of accuracy what you're going to be approved for. There's different ways to get a mortgage. There's a mortgage brokerage. There is a chartered bank. Basically, a mortgage brokerage is basically they have multiple lenders. Some of them have up to 20 or more different lenders. They lend on with different there's different flexibility. There's different situations, like if you're self-employed, if you're a contractor, if you have a lot of cash income, things like that. A mortgage brokerage definitely is the way to go. Lending fees with a mortgage brokerage, generally the fees are paid. The lender gets paid commission, or the lender pays commission to the brokerage, so you're not going to be paying a mortgage broker out of your pocket. They're really working for you. And then a lot of times they can negotiate better terms with your own bank. If you're a Scotiabank client, a lot of times because a mortgage brokerage has a lot of volume with, say, Scotiabank, for example, they can get you a better price or a better rate right from your own home bank, just because of the volume that they do. When you're dealing with a chartered bank, sometimes that's the best idea too. If you have a lot of history with one bank, it's easier. You just say to the in-house mortgage person, hey, listen, I want to buy a house. I've been banking with you guys for years. My business bank, my business account is here, whatever the case. Generally, they do have stricter lending criteria, but again, banks are getting a bit more competitive these days too. Fees and rates absolutely do vary. But with either a broker or a bank, you can always negotiate you can negotiate your rate. There's nothing wrong with pushing back, saying, "Hey, listen, is that the best you guys can do?" So again, the chartered banks tend to be a bit more strict. So there's different types of mortgages. This is just an overview. There's fixed rates, variable rates. We've seen the Bank of Canada rate come down this year. This affects the variable rate mortgage. The Bank of Canada rate does not generally affect in a direct way the fixed rate mortgages. That's based on bonds. So that's a different story. There's open, closed. These are types of terms you're going to hear. Hybrids, which are a mixture of both. High ratio mortgage, which is if you have less than 20% down, you're going to have default insurance from CMHC, which has a cost to it. But again, if it's a means to an end and you don't have 20% of a down payment, it's still possible to get a house. There's reverse mortgages, which is a little bit different. If you're older, over 55, you have a lot of equity in your home, or you own your home outright, you can get money from your home to live on. If you're retired and you need a retirement income, you can borrow against your house, and you don't have to make a monthly payment to pay it back. You basically pay it when you sell your house at that point. There's cashback mortgages, so sometimes lenders have all sorts of promotions going on, things like that. Some people like the cashback mortgage, which gives you some cash on closing, which helps with closing costs and things like that. A lot of times that's in lieu of, for instance, a better rate. So again, it's a means to an end. And then this is a very popular product called the HELOC, or a home equity line of credit. If you're buying a car, if you're buying a boat, if you're buying a cottage, things like that, you use your home as leverage for that loan. They tend to be a little higher in terms of rates than a regular mortgage would be, but again, it's a means to an end. And if you have an expensive situation that comes up, if you need a new furnace, things like that, a HELOC may be the best thing for you. How much down payment? This is, again, is rule of thumb here. If you're under a $500,000 home, 5% is minimum. Between 5 and $1.5 million, you can do 5% on the first $500,000 and then 10 on the balance. And then homes over 1.5 million generally is 20% minimum. But again, that varies a little bit. If you're buying something right from a builder, there could be different structures there. It depends, but that's sort of the rules of thumb. The mortgage options, so the 5 C's of credit. This is, again, important when you're borrowing money. Just an overview of character, so your reputation, your credit history, your ability to repay, the capacity. So what your income is and your debt to income ratio. So again, this goes back to, do you have a lot of different loans? Do you have car loans? Do you have do you own an investment property? Do you own a vacation home? Things like that. Do you have a lot of debt? The amount of money you have liquid, basically, that's the capital. Collateral, so again, your assets that you can put up against a loan, if you own a home, if you have vehicles, things like that. And then conditions, so economic factors, terms, things like that. So how, what's the economy like, things like that. When economies are stretched a little bit, the lenders tend to be a little more, not less, a little less liberal. Plan B, that's great. If you have some issues, you can always get a co-signer. Generally, if you're purchasing a home with your spouse, generally you're both on the mortgage. Especially if both parties work, you're both on the mortgage. That's a little different than family law. That works a little differently. Or a guarantor. I've had a client that had a guarantor, and just recently, after I think it's 2 years now, he's redone his financing and he's taken the guarantor off the financing, which frees him up to go into a new home or purchase an investment property. So his guarantor helped him get that initial property, and he was able to get the guarantor off. Again, there's some frequently asked questions. What does the pre-approval process involve? It's a fairly quick process. You need your up-to-date tax return. Your taxes have to be up-to-date. That's the other important thing, is a lot of people, if your taxes aren't up-to-date, it's going to be really hard for you to get pre-approved for anything. And then if you don't get the approval you're looking for, there's other alternatives. There's what they call B lenders. There's private lending. There's many different types of scenarios that can work. Okay, find the right real estate agent. That's important when you're looking for a home. You want somebody that you click with. You want someone that's available for you, and you want somebody that has experience, is responsive, has integrity. That's extremely important in this day and age. They want it. You want someone that has the knowledge in the area you're looking, but not only that, but you want someone who has the ability to do the research that you need, because that's an extremely important part of real estate, is doing research. Can you buy a home without a real estate agent? Absolutely. I've had many people tell me that they will go to the listing agent to buy a home. Problem with that is the listing agent is contracted to the home seller, and the listing agent will work for the home seller. The listing agent will not work for you as a buyer. That's like going to court and just saying to the prosecutor, "Hey, listen, I don't need a lawyer. Can you just help me out here, and you can act on my behalf?" But the crown attorney or the prosecutor is there to basically win his side and put you in jail. And your lawyer is there to fight for your rights, to keep you out of jail. So that's basically how a buyer agent works, is we're there to work on your side. If we're a buyer agent, we're doing things. We're a fiduciary for you. We work in your best interest. What's the agent responsible for? We show you properties. We do the research for the areas for you. We help you find a property. We create an offer. We help negotiate the offer. We can also do a lot of other things. We can help you find a lawyer for your closing, because you do need a lawyer when you close for a house. And basically, we work in your best interests. So anything you need, we're there for you. How do you find an agent? There is a lot of agents in the Greater Toronto area, Southern Ontario. Asking friends, looking to see what kind of agents are advertising online, what kind of reputation they have online. You can walk into a real estate brokerage and say, hey, listen, I'm looking to buy a house in this area. Do you have any agents that I can talk to? Or, if you're on realtor.ca, you can look, if you find some houses you like, those agents that are listed on those listings are the listing agents for those houses. If you don't buy that house from the agent probably can help you find something that's more suitable for you. So the key to a buyer agent is that it doesn't cost you anything. As the buyer, you don't pay a thing. A buyer agent is paid essentially by the seller. So the seller would use a commission enticement to have buyers or buyer agents come and bring their clients. That's how the commission works. So to begin your house hunt, again, pause on these slides and you can read them in more detail. But basically, you're looking for a location, you're looking for the size of house, how many bedrooms, things like that. Any special features? Do you want a swimming pool? If swimming pools are love-hate. You either would love a pool or there's no way you would ever buy a house with a pool. That's pretty much how it settles out. Lifestyle. So are you planning on having children, or do you have children? Do you need to be close to schools? Do you need to be close to recreational areas? Are you close to retirement? Are you looking for a bungalow? Something with not so many stairs? Are you trying to downsize or go into perhaps a condo that has a nice lifestyle where you have less maintenance and less things to be bothered with? And do you need to be near family and friends? All of these are important when you're beginning your house hunting journey. So again, here's some more questions. What are the types of things to consider? There's a big list of them there. Obviously, price is the number one, because really that's the number one thing to consider is, can you afford the house that you are looking for? And again, as a young couple, as an example, or a young person who wants to get into the housing market, a condo is a great start to that, because you can get into a condo at a fairly decent price. There are some costs involved with condos for condo fees and things like that, but you also get services for that. In most high-rise condos now, there's gyms, there's pools, there's recreational rooms, there's party rooms, there's underground parking, which is lovely in the winter. There's locations that are close to restaurants, all sorts of cool stuff, movie theaters, things like that. So all of that wraps up into the package that you're looking for. If you are looking for a 5-bedroom house, in a gated community, on the golf course, all this wonderful stuff, you better bring a lot of money to get that. So, these are the kinds of things you need to do. Is you need to decide what's important to me and how much I'm willing to spend on it. My job as a buyer agent is to bring you lists of homes and to help you, go through those homes. But in the end, the final decision is yours. And what I always tell my people is this: I always say to them, I'm not going to spend your money. It's your money, but I will make a lot of recommendations to you, and I will help you choose the best choice for your needs. And with my experience as a buyer agent or as a realtor, I will point things out that are important. Recently, I had a house that we were looking at with the client. It was an older house. It was in good shape. But then before we started to do the offer, I spoke to the listing agent, and he said, oh, by the way, the last big rainstorm, we had a pool of water in the basement. Don't have any idea where it came from. could have been the foundation. And for me, that was an immediate red flag. And I said, okay, well, I appreciate you being honest with me. I'll talk to my clients, and as it happened, that house went to 21 offers, and it did sell, and it sold for quite a high price, if you ask me. But with my clients, they were brand new; they'd never owned a home before. This was a very old home, and we decided that it was not the right opportunity for them. And that's a really important thing for me to do, and for a buyer agent to do, is not only give you the good news, but to give you the bad news too. And a lot of this search, this question number 4, a lot of the search begins online. So what happens with an offer? So the key things that are in an offer is obviously the offer price. Now, your initial financial offer to the seller may be your highest offer, or it may be a lowball offer, or something in the middle, and you want to negotiate a price. There is they call it an irrevocability clause, but basically it says we're going to give you an offer for the house. That offer is going to be good for the next 24 hours, 12 hours, however many hours. That's important because an offer can expire. So when we're placing an offer on a home, we want someone to look at our offer quickly and give us some feedback on the offer, either come back to us with a different price or terms, or accept our offer. But that is an extremely important part, because we don't want to get tied up competing with other offers. We want to have our offer looked at first before any other offer. You need a deposit when you place an offer. That's different than your down payment. The deposit is money that you place up front. Basically, if you place an offer, you agree on a price, and the offer is accepted, you need to have a deposit. Usually it's around 5% that you offer, and that gets held in trust by generally the listing brokerage. And that gets rolled into your whole down payment at the time you close. But that's important too, because that shows the seller that you're serious and you're willing to put some money up. If the offer does not come through, let's say you have an inspection clause where you're going to get an inspection. That's called a condition. And let's say the inspection shows that there's damage to the foundation or things like that. You can cancel that offer, and you cancel the deal, and then you get your deposit back. So those are important things to consider. The completion date is when you want to move in. That's when the transaction will complete, and you pay for the house and you get the keys. And then again, conditions, there is finance conditions, there are inspection conditions, there are legal review conditions in some cases. That a legal review would be in a situation where perhaps there's a lot of complications to the purchase, and you want your lawyer to look at it before you commit to it 100%. All the home transactions are completed by lawyers, so the lawyer will look at the transaction when you complete it, but perhaps you would want somebody to look at it beforehand. If you're buying a condo, you have something called the status certificate, which gives you an idea of what the condo situation is, if it's financed well, if the condo is in good shape, if there's any lawsuits against it, any huge repair bills, things like that. A status certificate you would have a lawyer look at before you, again, commit to buying that property. So yes, it's important to have a real estate lawyer early in the process. You don't have to pay them right away, but you do have to have somebody that you have basically on speed dial who can help you, especially in a condo purchase. When you're making an offer, price again is essential. You have to know if your price is going to be good, if you're getting good value. And again, that's my job to show you what other houses that are very similar have sold for, and then we determine what we want to pay for that particular property. Again, I think 5% is generally a good deposit value. You can go less than 5%, but again, it's a bit esoteric because that money gets rolled into the down payment anyway. So, and if you have conditions, if something goes wrong, you get that money back during the conditional period. Can you walk away from a deal? That's very difficult, and that can be costly because if you walk away from a housing purchase after your conditions are fulfilled, then you're basically breaking a contract. So that can get you into some legal hot water for sure, and you could lose your initial deposit. So multiple offers is one of the challenges we have in the Ontario market in busy times. To a large degree, that's become the way to market properties, which is frustrating for many people because especially in a slower market, if you're a listing agent and you're trying to get these quote offer deals going, or multiple offers going, if you're in a slow market, you're wasting everybody's time because you're not going to get a bunch of people jumping onto a particular house in a slower market. But it's become a way to market properties. The key to multiple offer situations is deciding if and when you basically drop your conditions. So if it's a newer house and you feel comfortable not having an inspection, that's a possibility. You should again, if you're pre-approved and you're very, very confident in your finances, then you can perhaps drop your finance condition. None of this is ever genuinely recommended, but at the same time, if you're competing against other offers, it might be a necessary evil as long as you're sure that you're covered. FAQ. Okay, so can you cancel after agreeing for the home sale? No, you can't. But if we are under the conditional period and we find something that's wrong, or if financing it doesn't go through, then we're covered and we can cancel the agreement at that point. I write the offer on your behalf. You as buyers will sign the offer. I sign an offer ensuring my services, but that is not an acceptance of an offer, or I can't sign on your behalf. Negotiations can be extremely quick, or they can take an extended amount of time. It depends on what we're negotiating, and it depends on where things are. In a commercial purchase, for instance, a large commercial purchase can take ages to get dealt with because you're going back and forth on different points. There is testing. There is all sorts of regulatory stuff that you need to do. So yeah, it can take a while. So this is my buyer process, or our buyer process. I'm going to go through it really quick, but again, unfortunately, my little bubble here is blocking some of it. But basically, what I like to do is try to meet with my clients either on Zoom or in person, and I'll get what your needs and wants are, and location, budget, all those kinds of things. Then you need to speak to a mortgage person just to get your pre-qualification done, and then you start getting MLS listings with your criteria in mind. You can, again, browse to your heart's content on Realtor.ca and different apps, but certainly we definitely want to get your criteria dialed into the MLS search system, and then you'll start seeing new properties coming to market with your criteria in mind. And again, usually it depends on the market. This can take, it can take 7 days. You can find your perfect house on day one. That happens all the time. Or in some cases, you're looking for a very extended period of time because you're looking for something very specific. So after we've done our search, we've found a great property, we've sent an offer in. Let's say they have there's conditions. So we have, let's say, a water test. We have a status certificate if it's a condo, things like that. So our conditions are going to be there. We're going to go through and we're going to work through our conditions. They can be anywhere between 24 hours to a week, depending on the condition. A water test sometimes takes an extended period of time, 5-6 days. So all of these things, once they're done, during the conditional period, a lot of times we will submit the paperwork to the lawyer and say, hey, listen, here's my deal. We're still conditional, but I just wanted to get you guys to open the file and have a look at things. In the situation of a condo with the status certificate, we definitely need to have the lawyer look at the status certificate. They will do that very quickly, and they will be able to give you an answer on the status certificate. They will take you through it. So once all the conditions are fulfilled, once we've heard back in the status certificate as an example, then we will waive our conditions or fulfill our conditions, and then the deal is firm. And from then on, we are going to make sure the financial aspect is being done properly, the mortgage is being drawn up. Again, the lawyers will have all the information. We will do a couple of visits just to make sure if we need to do measurements, if we need to make sure everything is moving along well. And then a final visit 1 to 2 days prior to closing. We want to make sure that the house is still in the same shape that we saw it in when we first agreed to purchase it. We want to make sure all the appliances are still here, and it's the appliances we saw. That happens. All of a sudden we walk in, and rather than stainless steel appliances, there's a bunch of old white or really gross looking appliances because somebody thought that they wanted to take their appliances with them and they didn't tell us. All sorts of crazy stuff happens. And then moving day. So you get the keys generally in the afternoon after the lawyers have dispersed funds and done their paperwork. And then from my standpoint, I'm going to make sure that you know the security system, code, and if there's any questions, we want to make sure that your transition into your new home is quick and easy. And then, again, post-sale care, we're going to be following up until closing. We're following up with the final buyer visit and all of those things. When buying a home, there are there are costs to think about. So you've got your mortgage default insurance. That's going to get rolled into your mortgage. That will be up front with you. You're going to know up front what that's going to be. It can, as you pay down your mortgage and you get more equity, that mortgage default insurance can drop off your mortgage, and that will start saving you money in the end. Obviously, you're going to have general maintenance issues. You're going to have hydro, monthly hydro bills. You're going to have property taxes. Again, you can pay them with your mortgage or you can pay them separately. And then you have they call it strata maintenance fees, or you have your condo maintenance fees. That is set. Those are separate. Your property taxes, again, it depends on where you are, and you're going to know that up front. Owning a home, you're going to have repairs, you're going to have upkeep, you're going to have maintenance. That's normal. In a condo, it's not going to be as much. In a condo, you will have maintenance where your appliances perhaps need to be replaced from time to time. If you want to remodel, you want to paint, you want to redo cabinetry, things like that. Everything inside your condo is yours, and you can do essentially what you see fit. If you want to knock down walls and things like that, that's a little bit of a different story. You have to check with the condo and make sure that they're okay with that. And then there are some programs where you're getting rebates, you're getting land transfer tax rebates, things like that. Those are things that, again, your mortgage people will let you know what's new and what is the most current rebate or the most current promotion is available from the government, because the government do change the plans from time to time. Every year, generally like clockwork, there's new plans, and especially in election years, there's all sorts of new promises. You just never know which is really going to happen and which isn't. um, so yes, so there's again first-time buyer programs. There's all sorts of wonderful stuff like that. So again, pause to read some of these things, and we would give you the most recent, ones that are happening. It's always good to interview a few different agents, things like that. So work with me. I would love that. I would love to have you in our VIP home buyers program. So again, with our program, we're looking for buyers that don't know anything about buying a house. We're looking for buyers that are really seasoned buyers, but we're here to help. And certainly we will do our best to prevent you from overpaying or prevent you from, dealing with dishonest agents or dishonest home sellers. Just because someone's selling their home, a lot of times you've got to look deeper, and that's one of the things that we can do is with our experience we can scratch the surface and see that everything is what it seems to be. So essentially, yes, we can help you find the home that fits into your criteria within your budget, and a lot, I feel we can do that more efficiently and faster than just sitting endlessly searching and scrolling through realtor.ca, because you will get every morning or however often you want it to get, you will get homes that are coming to your email with your criteria in the areas that you're looking for. And a lot of times I will suggest specific homes if I run across them, or if I run across something that I know that's not on the market yet or it's coming soon, or perhaps one of my own listings that's not on the market, I will be suggesting those things to you, and which is really the advantage of dealing with an agent. So our bonus offer for our members, 12-month satisfaction guarantee. If for any reason you're unsatisfied with your purchase, within the first 12 months, we'll resell it for you at zero commission. Dream Home Finder, we'll send out mailers, cold call homeowners, door knock in the area you're looking for to help you find the house that you want in the area you want it. Our inspector certified program will get a licensed home inspector to give you really good peace of mind with no surprises. We have a no obligation certificate, so if you aren't satisfied with our service prior to finding your home, you're able to walk away with no strings attached. Our essential service program for police, fire, teachers, healthcare workers. If you qualify, oh dear. So here's our offer, our bonus offer for our members of our home buyer program. 12 months satisfaction guaranteed. If for any reason you're unsatisfied with the home you purchased within the first 12 months, we'll resell it for you at zero listing commission. We have our Dream Home Finder. We will cold call, we'll send out emailers, we'll door knock in the area you're looking for to help you find the perfect home. We will have our licensed home inspector give you a complete report of your new home, so there's no surprises. And we have a no obligation certificate. If you aren't satisfied with our service prior to finding your home, you're able to walk away with no strings attached. And then our essential services program for police, fire, teachers, healthcare workers. We will give you a free home appraisal and a free home warranty. And then our discounted listing fee. If you purchase a home with us, we will sell your home at a discounted commission with our a la carte listing program. Get access to listings that aren't found online. We will find off-market listings, powers of sale, foreclosures, things like that to help you in your search. And you get exclusive access to the data of previous home sales in the area you're looking for. So thank you very much. We look forward to working with you.